right, so this is Atlas's 3rd and 4th sessions, and this is just done on one day. I just worked with him and then gave him a break and then came back. So I want to work on him getting a little closer and just seeing if I can touch him, which he's cool with, like little nose touches, and then he gets a little scared and looks away. There we go. I'm just trying to keep my hand there, and like he really wants to sniff my hand. That's kind of where he's raising his head up. So when I touched a little bit higher on his nose there, I clicked and then tossed him some grain as a reward. So I'm still using that positive reinforcement to get him to touch my hand. So I'm speeding up the parts where he's just eating grain because that took up a lot of time. So I sped it up a little bit. So I'm just trying to stay, like he's sniffing my hand right here. And then if he gets worried, I'll just take it away. So like he's raising up to sniff it, like right there. But I don't want him to raise up a lot and like get worried and get afraid. So if he's getting a little too much worried, then I'll just back off and let him think about it. But I click to him there and then feed him. So I just want him to kind of just stay with my hand on him, so not leave. So that's what I'm clicking for. So I touched his nose and I click to him, and then I'm going to touch a little bit farther above his nose and click to him when he stays. So when he's not really moving his head around, he's not rocking his weight back, he's just kind of staying there, kind of accepting a little bit. So like there I was like moving because I had a bug on me, and he's kind of like moving his head around. He's a little worried about that. So he's very interested though, and he's paying attention. He's kind of reaching out here a little bit with his nose. So he's definitely curious. So he's getting there. It's like there I'm moving. Just every little movement he notices. There I'm just moving the grain in there because he still has some in there, and he's turning his head, and he's just very on guard still. But he's letting me touch him, so he's getting better. So again, I'm just having like good positioning here. I'm like off to the side of his shoulder. So if he gets worried, he won't hopefully not strike out at me. So there he started to back up, so I took my hand away. That was really good because I click him and throw him a handful of grain. I really want to encourage him staying and accepting the touch versus leaving. If he was a little bit more spooky or scared, I would just reward a little bit smaller steps than his right now. So like we kind of start at the nose and then kind of go up his face. So he moved his head away. That's fine. I'll take my hand off. Very nice. Click him and give him a treat. So when he turns his head away or he rocks back, those are all signs that he's being worried. So I'm just gonna be like, okay, you're scared. It's all right. I'll take my hand off. I mean, technically I'm taking away the pressure, but I'm recognizing him. I'm saying, okay, like you can't handle this much. Like I'll back off. And really they learn just as faster. This is a scared horse. He's not a spoiled horse. He's a scared horse. It would be opposite for a spoiled horse. But he's staying with. He's not leaving like he did in the previous session. Very nice. I'll take a step back here. So like that turning away, that's a calming signal. So I'm like, okay, it's all right. Back up. Approach again. I'm still approaching kind of to the side. Very good. Click him and give him a treat. And so he does like that. Like he'll kind of bow his neck and then he lifts that one right front foot, and he's doing that every time I click because he's like, oh, I'm gonna get food. So he gets a little excited there. And I sped up all the parts where he's eating here because half the video would be just watching him eat. So but he's coming back out of the bowl like from the ground, like his head was nice and relaxed. He didn't pull it out really fast and like run off like he had been previously. So he's getting there. See, like he walked forward there. He's leaning back, but he took a step forward. See, there he's leaning again. So he's like kind of initiating the contact. Very good. So he's thinking like, oh, maybe I want to go there, but then he's still curious. Very good. Because I'm not trapping him. I'm just saying, hey, will you let me touch you? And then he goes back. And so I didn't click him there. I just kind of backed up so that he would have the opportunity to come and get more grain. So I'll click him there. He really kept his head still there, so that's really good. Just want to give him plenty of opportunity to go away if he needs to, and I'm just watching his body language. But he's more curious here, and then he'll be like a little worried, but then he kind of always switches back to curious. And I don't want to touch him when his head's down and in the bowl, because I don't want to scare him. I want him to feel comfortable, and that's really his sign that he's ready to interact with me. So that way, that time I really got more off to the right, because my goal is to get toward his tag. So my hand went more toward his eye on the right side, so I clicked and fed for that. So I'm just right now I'm just raking on this left side because I want to get his tag off, and it's easier from this side, but I'm going to do the same thing on the right side. But look, he's got his ears at me, he's looking at me, he's coming, like he's not running away. He doesn't have nearly as much sideways posture as he did before, so that's really good. So like he started to raise up there, so I just took my hand away like that, and then try again. Maybe back off, so I'll take my hand away. Just hold it out. We'll start from the beginning. I want him to sniff my hand and then make my hand up his nose. It was a scary new space there. I'm like, it's all right. So I'll back off a little bit. Have some more grain. So there was more grain in the bowl, so I just took a step back versus clicking and giving him more, because I don't want to feed him a ton of grain. That was really good. So he's wanting to face me straight on here. That's why he keeps turning his head. He's like, I'd like to see you out of both eyes. So I'm just kind of backing up and being like, hey, no, could you look at me just from this left eye here? I'm just going to wait for him. Because if you don't move around enough, they'll get used to just seeing you. There, he's just sniffing my hand. There, he stayed pretty good there, so I'll click him and feed him. They'll get used to just seeing you out of one particular eye or one position, and you really got to move around slowly, but you can't stay in one place for too long, or they'll just really get used to that. So I end that first session, and then I come back for his fourth session on the same day. Not fourth in the same day, but he had 2 this day. So same thing. Very nice. He's like looking toward me versus like more like away body language and putting his head away from me, which is nice. He's still got his head up. I think he's more trying to sniff me versus like get away from me kind of thing. And that was good. I reached over and had my hand on his cheek. I'm trying to stay closer to the bowl here too, versus like backing up like I did in the last couple of sessions, because I want him to associate me with the grain. So I don't want to always back up and then he gets grain when I go away. I want him to connect that he gets grain when he's near me. Very nice. A little bit further up his face there. He just wants to look at me with both eyes, so that's fine. Backs up. I'll take my hand away. It's all right. Not that much pressure. I'll just kind of follow him here. And he's letting me touch him on the cheek there. And then he'll put his head down like, oh, did I get food yet? And I really want him to just be still, because I don't want to reward like that anticipation where he's like, oh, is there food? Because I don't want him to go too far and he's like, oh, like he'll let me touch him, and then he'll be worried because he's thinking more about the food than he is about me. So I'm just gonna stay with him here. There, let me touch him. I'll click and give him his reward. So I really like that one. Like, he was thinking about me, had that ear on me, and he was looking at me, but he stayed still. And I just barely touched him, and I clicked him and gave him some grain. And I just want to hang out here next to him, and I try to not make a whole bunch of movements while he's eating, because I want him to feel safe enough that he can eat near me, because he's kind of in a vulnerable position with his head down like that. And then some people who use positive reinforcement like to use like a cone. It's like a start button. My start button is he lifted his head up and was like, he's initiating that. So I touched him again, click and feed him. So he's like ready for interaction. So he doesn't just keep his head down or like eat and then run off. He picks his head up and then just stays there. That's my start button for the horses. I will use cones occasionally. I like to use them for trailer loading too. But but I really want them to be more connected with me versus like objects, because they'll get too stuck on objects. So that's just why I do that. So like right there, he picked up, he's looking at me, he's interacting. That's his start button. So then I'm like, okay, now I can touch him. Just touch him on the side of the face there. I'll let him turn his head and he comes back to me. I'm just kind of, he's trying to look at me with both eyes again. So perfect. He touched him right there, and I'll end the session on a good note.